everyone, hope you're well and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a more personal one. I haven't done a sort of chatty life update in quite a while just because things have been ticking along, just going to work, just potting around, just kind of being like here, there and everywhere, but nothing too crazy. So I've not really had much to update anyone with, but a few things have happened recently, and I've mentioned a few things on social media and have had quite a lot of messages and comments and questions and things off the back of quite a lot of stuff. So I thought doing this video as well would be maybe helpful for other people, not in the sense of anything like, oh look at me, let's listen to me talk for ages about my life, but more just if anyone's going through similar sort of things, then maybe it'll help because I'm chatting about it like I usually do. It's really strange because I often find chatting on camera like this very, very easy, but then when it comes to chatting to my friends face to face and family and things like that, I find that a lot harder, which does seem really silly, but it's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe because this feels like I'm not actually talking to anyone, like I'm just talking to myself. I kind of forget sometimes that people even listen or watch, so maybe that's why I find it easier than kind of like, I don't know, sitting down. I find it very hard to sit down and just say to someone, oh, I'm having a really hard time. I find it fine on like Messenger, on WhatsApp and things like that, but in real life I'd sooner rather listen to other people's, like, not problems, but other people's lives, like what's going on in my friends' lives, what's good, what's bad. I love listening and I love trying to help, but I'm not so great at actually in real life vocalizing kind of what's going on with us and things, unless I'm directly asked, and then obviously I'll respond. But I hate being negative as well. Like, I've had a bit of grief recently online from people I don't know who have said that I've become a really, really negative person, and I try so hard not to be. So it's a bit of like a kick in the face because I'm like, oh my goodness, all I'm trying to do is help other people. All I'm trying to do is, if someone else has a baby with silent reflux, if someone else has a husband that deploys, if someone else has any of the issues that me and my family go through, then I just want to help. Don't want people to feel sorry for me. I really don't. I just talk about it, A, to get it out and yeah, make myself feel better, but also to help other people, because I know fine well when I first started breastfeeding Lachlan and I was having a horrendous time, the only thing that made me feel better was listening to other people, which is awful, who had had the same sort of experiences. So yes. Anyway, on to actually talking. I've just realised as well, I look naked because my hair is covering my straps. I'm not naked, I'm wearing a dress. It's a really lovely day today actually. But yeah, anyway, so life update. First thing, probably the biggest thing, is that we had our primary school application things, confirmation, whatever it is, come through on Monday, and they weren't quite what we were hoping for, unfortunately. Background for, I have done a blog post on this, I will link it below, and the blog post will be more emotional because I wrote it very soon after we found out, and I was very like, ah, like feeling awful about it, whereas we're 5 days in now and I've kind of come out of the emotional side of it, and now I'm in like the practical sort it side. So yeah, anyway, blog post will be below. But yeah, our backstory is that we moved here to this area when I was 38 weeks pregnant with Isla. Never ever expected to still live here when Isla was going to school, so didn't even bat an eyelid at school catchments, didn't even cross our minds. We got offered 3 marriage quarters and this was the best out of a bad bunch. Thought, ah well, a couple of years, we'll make it what we can make it. It is what it is and we'll just deal with it. So to be sitting here 4 years later, still in the same house, which is even more falling apart now, but that's a different story. We really didn't expect to be looking at schools around here. So it came to this school application deadline or whatever. I went to see the 2 schools in the area that I really, really liked, that had a great setup, good service family support, very much like the preschool setup Isla's in, because that's what I was after the most. Really, really hoped she'd end up in a school that would be quite similar to the nursery she's been in for the past 4 years, because it's amazing. I love it. There's a big focus on outdoor learning. They have a forest school and it's just perfect for Isla. So I really hoped that whatever school she ended up in would be quite similar to that setup. So this one particular school, which is the school that was top of our list, we're literally just out of the catchment. Like the catchment's here and we're like here. I think it's like, it's not even, there's like a big road off our marriage quarter and the catchment's kind of just at the end of that. We're just out of the catchment. It's almost just as close to us as our catchment school, but yeah, unfortunately not in our catchment. So we did apply for those 2. I didn't put down a 3rd one. I did not know the whole school system, school allocation system thing. I've never done it before. I looked into it the best I could. Both schools I saw assured me that they took 50% out of catchment, and us being a service family would really help with that because of the mitigating circumstances and this, that and the other. So I didn't put our catchment school down. I didn't want our catchment school. I had a quick look around it very late on in the like process. Just have had really bad communication from them, just haven't had a good vibe and just couldn't see Isla there. I'm not insulting the school. school. I'm not saying anyone whose children go to that school are in a bad school or anything like that. That is not what I'm saying. I'm sure it's a great school for the kids that go there, but you know what it's like. You just want the best for your kids, and you kind of just, all kids are different. So one school matches one set of children, another school matches a different set of children, and that's just the way it is, and that's kind of what this is boiled down to. I just really didn't see Isla in that setup. Yeah, the school application day came, and that's the school we got. We didn't get the 2 schools we hoped for. We just got allocated the school that wasn't even on our list. So that's been rubbish. That's been quite tough. I've had to have a big rethink about what to do. So at the beginning I just had a big panic, and I was like, oh my goodness, I will have to consider moving home to Scotland. Let's look at private schools, let's do this, that and the other. And I really panicked, and it was quite hard as well because there weren't many other people I knew of who were in the same boat. So I was trying so hard to be happy for all my friends that had got the schools they wanted, because I am genuinely happy. I would hate for anyone, especially friends, to be going through the drama and the stress of scrambling to try and find a school that you're kind of half happy with your child going to. It's horrible. So also, yeah, there's another thing. So a lot of people who follow us as a family are from Scotland. It seems to be so different in Scotland. I cannot get my head around the way the system works in England. I just can't. I don't know if the schools are just bigger in Scotland, and where we live now, it's not a city, it's a town, a relatively big town, I guess, but there are so many schools. It's crazy. Like, I can't even hazard a guess. I know of at least 20, I'd say. But I'm sure there's more, because people keep messaging me with schools to check out that I've never even heard of around here. And also a very strange thing that well, it's not strange, it's just strange to me, a very different thing that I've come across down here that I've never experienced living abroad or living in Scotland, is that nearly every school around here, primary school wise, is split into infants and juniors. So your infants for reception, year 1 and year 2, I think. I might have that wrong. And then juniors is 3, 4, 5 and 6. Maybe year 3s in infants. Anyway, whatever it is, they split primary out into 2 schools. So even if, say, I did end up getting the school I really hoped for, we'd have it for infants, and then you have to go through this whole rigmarole and drama of applying again in year 3. I think it is. Year 3 or 4. It must be year 3. To try and get them a junior school place. So especially if you're out of catchment, if you get one infant school, you're not guaranteed the junior school, so you might get a different junior school, so your child will have to leave all their friends and start again, all within one town. It's not a big city. That's what I cannot get my head around. And also, it just seems so unfair. Even the criteria is very fluid, and service families don't seem to be a very sort of like rigid criteria for any. It differs from school to school, like special educational needs and having siblings, and I think adopted or children in local care system. They're very much, you can tell where they are criteria wise, but service families, it's just rumors. Like one school or one set of people will say, oh yes, you've got a certain amount of priority over other children and this, that and the other, then others say you don't. So it's quite hard to even gauge where we would be on a waiting list. So yes, so yeah, that's our thing. On the 30th, so next week after, the waiting lists get published. So you have to call back admissions, find out where you are on the waiting lists for your, and this is just Hampshire. This is not, I don't know what it's like in all the other counties around England. That might be very different, but this is just where we are. You have to call up, find out where you are on the waiting list, and then make an educated guess on whether you think you'll get a place or not. They stay on the waiting list through till next August. So even if you started them at a school in September and then a place came up in the year, you'd have the opportunity to move them. But to me as well, that just doesn't seem right. Like, I know in my heart of hearts, if we did put her to the allocated school and then she got offered a school at her first choice, I would move her. But it just doesn't seem right, and it doesn't seem fair on the kids at all. It's just a very funny system that I just, like I said, can't get my head around. So yeah, they stay on the waiting list till then. You have to hope you'll get a place before September, but in the meantime you have to hand in all your stuff to the school you've been allocated, I think. What we're gonna do after all the emotions of this week, we're gonna wait till the 30th, find out where she is on the waiting list. In the meantime, I'm gonna apply to 2 more schools, get her on the waiting list for them as well if they're oversubscribed, which I think they are, which I just don't understand. Why not in this big area? They've only got 2 main senior schools, so why not just have, I don't know, 5 big primary schools, reception all the way to year 6. But because here it's so, like, literally it's based on streets, that's how close all the catchments are. And I just think if there was just a few big schools, then the standards wouldn't differ so much, there wouldn't be this big drama, and also the reapplying, because a lot of the schools around here as well, you hear the infants are really good, then the juniors aren't so much, or the infants aren't so good but the juniors are. Why is it not all the same? Why? Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna wait on the waiting list find out where we're placed on the waiting list, kind of decide then whether we're going to hold out for a state school or if we're going to look at an independent school. Because I went to go look at an independent school this week. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Such a great school, only 15 minutes away, not that far at all, tiny class sizes, just the setup was great. I fell in love with it. I probably shouldn't have gone, but I did fall in love with it. And my background is that I grew up abroad, so I was mainly in independent school. I don't know now, I really don't know. It's so hard because all we want is the best for our kids. Every single parent just wants the best for their kids, and no kid is more entitled than another kid for a certain type of education or a better type of education. But as parents, all we want to do is try our best to ensure that we're getting that for our kids. So in terms of the independent school, the private school, and the fees and everything, the only way we would be able to afford it is the fact that I've got 2 jobs. That's what it boils down to. We have an extra income coming in from my side, which will just allow us to afford it for however amount of time. It will mean we'll have to stop saving for a house, which is rubbish. And yeah, like just things like that will obviously have to change a little bit, but we can just afford it. So it is an option, and I know it's not an option for everyone. So I even feel a bit weird talking about it because I don't want anyone to think that like I'm stuck up or a snob or anything like that. It's not that, it's just that I'm just trying to figure out what's the best thing to do for Isla, and I don't really know at this moment. So I think we're going to stay on the waiting list, see what happens, have the independent school as a backup if absolutely needed. In terms of this life update, this is going to be quite long actually. A few other things are going on, like a few other things that I'm not going to properly talk about, not in a weird way, but one of them's a work thing. So if things happened with work that went a certain way, then it might facilitate us moving back up to Scotland quicker. So again, school-wise with Isla, that would mean her going to a different school in a school up north. So there's a lot of things that have to play out before we really figure out what we're doing. We're just going to hold out hope for the schools we really liked, and if not, then I don't know. That's another thing. Work's been a complete stress recently, so that's been a bit of a sort of like a weight on the old shoulders. And then yeah, the last thing is the after the Easter holidays, we always knew we were going to be on like the hurtling slope down to deployment. So this is what we're on now. He went away today, he's away for 6 weeks, and then he comes back and he's got a couple of weeks of work I think, then he's got his pre-deployment leave, and then he goes in July for 6 months again. And I feel like it was just yesterday I was doing these videos about the last deployment when I was pregnant, and I just can't for the life of me figure out where the time's gone that we're doing it again. Like, it's just mind-blowing. So it's a weird one. This one kind of crept up on me because I forgot. I'm a terrible military wife. I completely forgot he'd be away all of this. He's going off on exercise, and I just forgot. Like, we've been so wrapped up and so busy with like just having fun because we hadn't seen each other much the first part of the year, and then just before or just after Easter we had Easter, and then just after Easter he's had a course. So he's been around for about 3 weeks, and we just kind of fallen back into the routine of him being around. So I forgot he was going again, and it kind of really hit me like a ton of bricks, and I still feel a bit like sick about it all. And I think because it's daytime just now and this is the first day, I sound very positive, but come tonight, I think nighttime's when it really hits and you're like, oh gosh, this is it for quite a while now, just me. And I had a really bad headache today as well, so I was like, oh no, like all these things of like not having any support with the kids, and if you're ill then you still have to have the kids and try and be okay for them, and if anything goes wrong it's like you and the kids, and it's rubbish. And even like it's back to the whole like, even socially, if anything comes up I either have to scramble for a babysitter or just say no, and I've just forgotten. I'm just rambling away, but it's just so rubbish, and it feels really mean that they do this 6 weeks, come back and then go for 6 months. It's like, oh, never mind. Isla, I'm not sure has properly understood. We tried so hard yesterday to say, because she does the thing where she goes, Dada only go 1 day for work, only 1 day, only allowed to go 1 day, not any longer, not long work, only 1 day. So we were trying to say yesterday, Dada going for long work, few weeks, lots of Sundays. She's got a thing about Sunday just now. That seems to be a moment in time she can work towards. We're like, lots of Sundays, 6 Sundays away, and she was a bit like, a bit funny about it, and last night she hugged him a lot more and stuff, but I think tonight will be like the proper emotional breakdown perhaps, if it is going to happen. So I need to get Lachlan a little huggable hero before he goes in July as well. But yes, that's our life update, that's where we're at. So it's been a bit of a rubbish one, but I'm trying to think of a positive note to leave this on. Might try and book a holiday, not very sure, between Italy, Ibiza and where else? There was somewhere else. Italy, Ibiza and Portugal, maybe Portugal. So I might try and do that to try and like have things to work towards them, but for the meantime just working away, keeping busy. Isla's got 3 birthday parties this weekend, so yes, I'm gonna fill it up with lots of time with friends and hopefully get a little trip up to Scotland as well. But anyway, I will leave you here. Hope you're having a really good week. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine before it goes. Probably by the time this video goes up, the sunshine probably already has gone. But never mind, summer's almost here. So yeah, thanks for watching. Well done if you've made it to the end of these ramblings, and I'll see you soon. Bye!